Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 95, and I'm actually going to change the bottom of this. 14 ways to make money while you sleep is what we're talking about today. And up next is Tony Ferraro from Authors Place Press Publishing. So let me go ahead and show this on the screen. So, the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is because Tony is a publisher and he's working with Jordan Adler, who's one of my favorite people and network marketers in the world, and is just a good friend of mine, actually. And they just came together to create a book called Momentum Makers. And so Momentum Makers is put together as a partnership with Beachmoney Publications, which is Jordan had a book earlier that he talked about called Beachmoney, and he has two of those books. And so they came together to kind of create this series of books that talks about network marketing. So it got me to think about residual income, and I'm going to send Tony a message here. And he's going to be coming on at 2:40. And so I got to thinking about network marketing being one of those ways that you can earn money while you sleep. So network marketing is sometimes gets a bad rap, right? But I think that for me, network marketing makes perfect sense because you build a team of people, and just like Rich Man, Poor Man says, you have people. You can either work time for money, or you can have employees, or you can buy real estate, or you can create a business that earns money while you sleep, which is what network marketing does. When you go out and build a business in any network marketing organization, you have people working with you that are helping you to earn money while you sleep. A second way you can earn money while you sleep is podcasts. So people always wonder, hey, how are you making money with Relentless Talk Radio? So right now I'm on Facebook, and this will go to YouTube, and then it will go to Instagram television, and then it goes to podcast, right? So this year, my goal is to get the 300 or so episodes that I've done so far to podcast. And why is that? Because when you have a podcast, you get sponsorship dollars, okay? So number one is network marketing. Number two is podcast. Number three is YouTube. So when you guys go visit my YouTube channel and you subscribe, the more subscribers I get on YouTube, then I get advertising, right? So podcast, you get sponsorship dollars. And YouTube, you get advertising revenue. So when you go to YouTube and there's an advertisement there, well, whoever is sponsoring the YouTube or creating the YouTube or the content is getting paid for sponsorship, kind of like a billboard, right? Number four is to create a membership-based business. So many of you have been watching me with Brandy Lawson doing Digital Evolution on Thursdays, the first and third Thursdays. And you've been watching me do the Video Lab on the second and fourth Thursdays for much of the year with Scotty Yang. That content is going into a membership-based site where you guys can subscribe or pay a membership rate. Like, for example, Adobe Creative Suite, I have a membership with them. I pay them monthly. Whether I use the suite or not, I'm paying them. And so Go Digital Faster is the membership site that I'm creating next year with Brandy Lawson and Scotty Yang. Basically what happens is every month there'll be 3 ways that you can earn, that you can subscribe, and 3 ways that you can pay, all low-based subscription rate, right? But you guys know what I'm talking about because you have Mile IQ, or you have other types of subscriptions that you're using that you're paying on a monthly basis. For me, one of the biggest ones I think of is Adobe Creative Suite. 5 is an investment portfolio. And it's funny because I used to be a financial advisor. So when you have an investment portfolio, when you buy stocks and bonds or mutual funds, you get paid dividends. And those dividends, hopefully you're reinvesting them back into your portfolio. So when a company makes money, they pay dividends out to their shareholders. You don't just make money on stock when you sell it. You make money when you own it on certain stocks, not on all stocks. And if you have those dividends buying more stock in your portfolio, then what you have is compounding interest. So a fourth way is to have investments with a financial advisor or on your own. You can buy investments on your own now. The sixth thing is real estate. And what was interesting, I did a lot of research, kind of perused through some articles, and there's some new ways to buy real estate that I really hadn't heard of before, and I'm looking forward to looking into it more, where you can actually crowdfund. So you're buying a piece of real estate as opposed to the entire building by investing in things like Fundrise, RealCamp, Peer Street, and RealCloud. Basically, you can use a small amount of money to be a group purchaser of real estate. So it's kind of like buying into a mutual fund, which is a group of stocks and bonds. But now you can buy into real estate by only buying a chunk of them, $100 of whatever, and then you and several other 100 people own the real estate. So I'm going to be looking forward to finding out more about that, because I didn't know about that one. Another one is royalties. And this is really the only, I'm not going to say the only, but the idea of residual income came from having royalties. So with my art, if someone reuses my art, I get paid a royalty fee. If you have a movie and the movie gets paid, you get a royalty fee. If you write a book, which is one of the reasons why we're talking with Tony today, is if you write a book and every time the book gets sold, you get a royalty fee. So this is true residual income, where you invest in something on the front end and then you don't do any more work. You're only paid when the book is sold, when the movie is watched, or when the art is used. Those are royalty fees. And so with my art, some of you know me as an artist, and some of you have just started following me, don't know me as an artist. With my art, which you can see a painting behind me, the little piece of it, I can't move it because I've got my lights on my monitor. But when you have a piece of art or a piece of creative collateral that is being reused, those are royalty fees, and that's true residual income. The eighth thing is, in this new gig economy, there's two ways you can make money. Well, three. Network marketing is a gig economy component, but also renting your house out, or your car, or your motorcycle. There's Airbnb and Vrbo, where you can rent your house out and earn income off of owning your home. I've got friends in California that they travel a lot, and what they do is they rent their house out when they're traveling. So they're out making money while they're traveling in their travel business, and their home is making money for them when they're at home. So one of the ways you can make money residually, or when you sleep, is in the gig economy. You can be a member of Airbnb. The ninth way is to create an app. So one of the things I'm thinking about this year is creating an app for my poker run that I'm doing in April, where the cards are being pulled virtually. If I can't find an app that does this, I'll be creating one with somebody so that I can have a virtual poker run. Those of you who haven't done these, you're on a motorcycle and you ride to different places and you get a card at each place, and at the last place, whoever has the best hand wins. But I want to have a virtual poker run so that not only are we doing it here in Phoenix, but we're doing it in other areas of the world. So I'll be looking for an app that does that already, but if I can't find one, I'm going to build one. And then I can repurpose that and have membership rates like Mile IQ, which I talked about earlier, where people can use that for a poker run they want to do. So if you know of a poker pulling app, let me know. If not, I'm going to create it. The 10th thing, which is something I didn't know about, is this thing called a Rapify, where you can actually have a wrap done on your car and drive around. I've seen billboards, like moving billboards. I have friends that have a billboard company, but I've never noticed that you can actually be paid to have your car or your van wrapped, and the company that is sponsoring that pays you. So I'm going to look into that. I probably won't wrap my car, but I'm interested in knowing more about it. 11 is affiliate marketing. So you can either be an influencer or you can have an influencer. So for example, I influence for Buddy Stubbs. Buddy Stubbs is one of my clients, and I shout out Buddy Stubbs and I tell people how awesome Buddy Stubbs, not only because it is awesome, but because we have an influencer related contract with each other, not on this particular show, but on my Relentless Biker show. Now, if I wanted to have someone influence for me, I would pay them to talk about Relentless Talk Radio or Choose Healthy Change in their podcast, right? So affiliate marketing is something that is happening an awful lot. And that is something you'll see a lot of Instagram people and LinkedIn people and Facebook people are mentioning other companies, and they're getting paid for it. So that's a new thing, I think, with social media and the internet. The 12th thing is you can become a bank. Now, this I knew about. Lending Tree, I knew about. You could borrow money from Lending Tree, but I didn't know that you could actually give money to Lending Tree and have them give you back interest on your money. So that's definitely something I'm going to be looking for. Peer lending. You can have your money working for you by doing peer lending. And then number 13 is having an online business, like a print-on-demand store, a Spotify store, something that you're selling products online where you're using drop shipping. So someone else is shipping your product and you're just waking up to a check in the morning. Love that idea. I have a print-on-demand store that I've been doing over the past couple of years. It will definitely be pumping up this year, selling my art, right? So I'm repurposing my art. I don't have to pay royalties because I created it, and hats and t-shirts and all kinds of things you can buy with my art. And the 14th thing is to be a patron. If you've heard about Patreon, Patreon is an area where you can go support some of your favorite artists. And so my friend Tim Collins from FTA Adventures has a Patreon account, and he's not an artist, but he's a motorcycle adventurer. So if you have a person who's out there doing YouTubes or traveling or do some kind of lifestyle, entrepreneur lifestyle, sometimes they'll have a Patreon site where you can support them, or artists that you can actually support, like Michelangelo had patrons. So there's 14 ways that you can make money while you sleep. And it's a very quick 10-minute list of them, but listen back through, or you can message me if you didn't get what I was saying, and I can tell you more about it. But there's a lot of different ways to make money other than trading time for money. So I'm going to let Tony know that he can come on in and we can talk some more about this concept of making money while you sleep. But so the first one is network marketing. The second one is podcasts. The third one is YouTube's. The fourth one is a membership-based site. The fifth one is having an investment portfolio. The sixth one is real estate, buying in part or in full. The seventh one is having royalties on a creative endeavor that you've created. The eighth one is renting out your house. The ninth one is creating an app. The 10th one is having your car be wrapped with a company like Wrapify. The 11th one is being an influencer or having an influencer or creating some type of affiliate marketing where people are referring your product to others, whether it be as an influencer or as an individual. The 12th one is to become a peer lender. And the 13th one is to create an online business. And the 14th one is to get patrons. So, hey, Tony, how are you? Are we having a hard time getting you on?
I don't know why it keeps doing this. It was working 10 minutes ago. Give me 1 second here and see if I can switch to FaceTime. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So
there we go.
I'm gonna change this down here. Authors Place Press. Say that. Yes. So tell everybody who you are and what it is that you do. I'm so excited that we're finally having this conversation, by the way, because you and I set this up about 6 months ago.
It's been a long time, yeah, for sure. So basically, my name's Tony Ferraro, and I'm super excited to be here. And at the end of the day, what I do is I help people discover their dreams and get to them, which is what I love to do. And what I really like about what you're talking about with regards to residual income is, for so many people, time freedom is a really big, important thing. And really in today's economy, having that residual income is the only way you can really get to time freedom. So anyway, several different ways that I help people kind of get to their dreams is, one is coaching and some other things, but as a publisher, and you mentioned this earlier, writing a book is one way to get to residual income. And that's, I've got a publishing company. We've got over 500 authors, 700 books, and that's one way I help people get to their dreams.
I didn't know you had that many. I mean, I knew about Jordan because he's a rock star, but you have other rock stars. I knew you had other rock stars, but 500 is a lot. How long have you had Authors Place Press?
Yeah, so Authors Place Press is about a 12-year-old company, but we actually bought the assets about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And so I've been running this with a partner for a couple of years, and it's been a tremendous amount of fun. And I've gotten to meet a whole lot of thought leaders from literally all over the world. We've got people in multiple countries, multiple continents, and it's awesome.
I love what you just said there. We talked about this earlier. Was You bought the assets. And for many business owners, where they're making their biggest money is where they sell the business.
Correct.
So they're doing a boatload of work on the front end, and they're getting paid, right? And hopefully you're building a business that's got a great balance sheet so you can get paid more on the back end. But you're putting a lot of energy on the front end and not getting paid a lot in the beginning, so that you're hoping you're going to get paid on the tail end, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, that work for businesses and work for other people, they sit back in their job and they think, oh my gosh, the guy, the person that owns this is making a lot of money and they're doing really well. And often they're not. Often the owner is kind of going paycheck to paycheck. And, that's one of the things that is a big differentiator between sort of traditional business and residual based businesses like network marketing and others. In a traditional business, your cash flow is king. I mean, you've got to make people's payroll, and it doesn't matter what you have to sacrifice in order to make that payroll. When the 1st and the 15th comes up, those people got to get paid. And it doesn't matter if you've had profit. It doesn't matter if you lost money. If you got to sell your car, you got to get your people paid. And so, when it comes to a perfect example, I remember years ago, I had started a software company and I had 13 employees coming to my house every day. We had $50,000 a month in payroll. And my wife and I were eating ramen noodles, $50,000 a month in payroll is a lot of money. And so we were starving, but the people were getting paid and they were getting paid a living wage and they were doing well, but we weren't. And so that's why this topic is so important, because, building alternative means for making money that don't require your time is such a big deal. So kind of going back to what you just talked about. So people think that when you own the company, you're making a ton of money. It's not always true. Oftentimes you don't really get money. You don't really get paid as an owner until you sell the business. And when you sell the business, that's when you have a cash out.
I'm thinking about, I'm smiling like I have that knowing smile on my face. Can you tell? Yeah. I grew up in a family business. So I watched my father work his butt off, and we employed like 6 or 7 people, and we never had vacations. And, I only recently started going on vacation because the money was always, being an entrepreneur myself and growing up in an entrepreneurial family, we were in a tourist-based business in Vermont. So the whole world was having fun around us. That's the irony of it, right? My father owned a bicycle store. And then I owned a salon in Vermont. I had 12 people working with and for me. And I remember, having multiple conversations of fill in the blank, where my employee or my booth renter, depending upon which person I was talking to, somehow thought that because I had the building and I took the risk, that there was unlimited funds, that I had a tree in the backyard. And I would literally take people out to the backyard then. I'd say, do you see any tree out there that has dollars growing on it? Like any, right. Like, because if you do and you see it, let me know, because I'm missing it. Because the work that you do and the commission, my 50% of your commission, or my 50% that I'm giving you for salary, right? Or what you're paying me for rent, is going towards all of these things. But the difference between having an employee mindset and a business owner mindset is so different, because somehow people think that if you're brave enough to buy the building, to fill it with stuff, and to go out there and get the business and employ people, that somehow you've got a magic wand, or you've got the keys to the kingdom, or somehow there's like a daddy Warbucks somewhere that's just making this simple on you. They don't realize that you and your wife are literally have a space heater in your bedroom and are turning the electricity off so that you can actually save money, so you can pay somebody's salary, which is,
that's exactly right.
If you did that or not, but I've done that in my life. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, I know exactly what you mean. And so, that's the risk that you take when you start a business, is that you're making a huge investment. And, when you end up selling it, you hopefully, and not always, but, hopefully you get a nice payout, and that makes up for it. But it's definitely on the come. It's definitely not on the promise. And, you can waste years of your life and really not get there. And so going back to the topic, that's why I love this topic, because when you when you create, alternative forms of revenue, I remember Jay Leno, one of the things he always taught is he said, you always want to have two streams, in his case, he said two. He said two streams of revenue. He said, so my wife and I, of course, this is him talking, we live off of the money that I make when I do stand-up routines. All the money I get from the Tonight Show, we store away. And so imagine that. And that's the reality, is that everybody should be thinking like that. How can I create sort of a side hustle that generates extra money that I can invest, not that I can spend, that I can invest. And because that long-term investment is what's going to create lifestyle. When you spend it, it's gone. You got to go make more. So that investment piece is so important.
I've been reading Millionaire Mindset by Eckhart. And one of the things he talks about is this, what you're saying, is that people that are able to generate large amounts of money are saving money.
Right.
So the 14 things that I talked about, I wish I had known about more of these things when I had my salon, because I would have had these things running concurrently, because I was just watching the money go out the door. In the beginning, when you're first growing a business, I mean, I look at my network marketing business as the bank. It's what makes the other businesses possible.
Right.
So, I think there's a lot of ways our parents, maybe you and I are the same age, we're like 3 weeks apart, right?
Right.
Our parents had the luxury of probably being the last generation that had a job that lasted a lifetime. And then they got, my dad didn't have that. My dad chose to be an entrepreneur, but many of his peers got a pension at the end of a lifetime at one company, but we don't have that luxury, and companies change. And with COVID, things are changing all the time. So if you're not, you've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of cool network marketers with your book, Momentum Makers, and through Jordan Adler and Alicia Pesina, two of my faves, used to be my BNI chapter. And actually, the founder of BNI it gave you a testimonial on your book cover. So good for you. What do you think the biggest lesson that you've learned in business has been as it relates to this book?
Yeah, that's really good. Well, for me, putting this book together has been really a game changer, because when I was younger growing up, network marketing had sort of that past that was not so great. And so my outlook of network marketing was kind of poor. As I started to really learn about network marketing today, it's been through a bit of a renaissance, and it's legitimate. As we went through and collected stories, Momentum Makers, this book is phenomenal, because it's in that first book, and when there's a series of 7, but this first book, there's 24 people who really made it big, and they have, and they go from people that were business professionals as bankers and doctors or whatever, to people that were homeless and literally are making 6 and 7 figures now. It's the whole array, and what I've learned is that if you do the work, it really does work. And why I answer that way when you say what's the business lesson for me. The reason it's a business lesson is because what it's taught me is it's really exposed to me the value of this residual income piece. I always kind of understood it, but I've always been sort of the traditional entrepreneur that builds the brick and mortar type business. In my case, software or online, but nonetheless, it's still kind of a traditional business. What doing this book has taught me is really the value of what you're talking about today, and that's that residual income piece, and how much of a differentiator it is, not only in quality of life, but more importantly, quality stability, life stability, as long as you do the work and you create the rigors and do it regularly.
And you and I had this conversation pre-show, is that I think sometimes the idea of any of these 14 things that I listed is that you're going to do this thing, it's going to be easy money, and if it's not easy, it's not valid, right? But what I've learned is anybody who makes a boatload of money works their ass off.
Correct.
Whether it's my dad and his bicycle shop, which he had a Schwinn franchise, which really is network marketing when you think about it. Except for he bought the franchise for a significant amount of money, and he had to do things their way, you know what I mean? And he had to have inventory. The
Right.
difference between network marketing is, yes, you still have compliance to deal with, but you don't have inventory. You're not, managing the shipping. There's lots of things that you get support with. You're just have a very low entry point and very low risk, but huge potential. But the thing is, you don't get the potential unless you work your butt off. Now, you and I both are dear friends with Jordan Adler.
Right.
Who was living in a garage when he first started and failed with other network marketing companies.
Right.
And Send Out Cards is his company, and I'm not sure if he actually mentions that in the book or not, but he has taken that company and has made it his golden goose, really. I mean, I have never seen Jordan not working.
Right.
He's always working.
Yeah.
And he's always building relationships. He's one of the hardest workers that I know. And so he didn't come by the helicopter and the beautiful place in Jerome and the beautiful home in Las Vegas easily. He really had to work. And the same thing for Alicia Pesina, who's in a different network marketing company. She's working. She's working very hard to make things what they need to be, right? Being a network marketer is not just a simple, easy job, right?
Correct. Yeah, so it's definitely work, and that's the problem, is that the people that get on the stage and get the platform are the ones that have made it. And so what happens is, when we sit in the audience and we hear what really is a very simple business model, network marketing is a very simple business model. Use the product or service, tell your friends about it, and because it's so great, they'll sign up. All true, but getting to the level of wealth that a lot of people want to get to and that they see on the stage, that's earned, and that's earned over a long period of time. Yes, it's earned using a very simple business model, but it does require hard work. And I think that that's the story that people need to hear. There's no get rich anything, quick anything. You've got to do work, and so pick the thing that you really enjoy, because you're going to be doing a lot of it, and that's the thing that will help you create that secondary income stream.
And even Jordan and yourself are both polypreneurs. Jordan has a network marketing company. He's publishing. He has other things. He has real estate, other things that he's doing. I think it's important to have several streams of income, and none of them. The way I look at it is, I have with Relentless Talk Radio, people will say, well, how are you making money? Well, right now, Relentless Talk Radio is a relationship builder and a traffic builder. When I get to the point where the advertising on YouTube and podcasts, and I'm getting significant influencer dollars, first you have to do the many episodes and build the following. You can't just start a podcast and start making money overnight. It takes time to get people interested in what it is that you're doing, and it takes. I was listening to John Maxwell talk about compounding consistency. You have to show up every day, right?
Right.
You have to show up every day. So one of the things that we talked about is that you have a coaching company, and you like to talk about activation. I wanted you to tell us a little bit about. I love it that this time of day, now that the landscapers are outside my window, it's hilarious. And so I apologize for the blowing outside my window. But you talked about two things: strategic thinking and strategic doing. And I know we're going over time, and that's okay, unless you have to go. But I really wanted you to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, strategic thinking versus strategic doing. There's a lot of us, that can think of things we want to do, and we can sit back and strategize. Strategy is planning for tomorrow today. That's how it's classically defined. Planning for tomorrow today. It all starts with a dream. You've got to have the dream, and then you've got to understand where you are in relationship to the dream, and then you've got to plot your course, and all of that is strategic thinking, right? Understanding what you want to get to, where you are in relationship to it, and plotting the course to get to it. But where people fail is in the strategic doing. And oftentimes, where we really struggle is when we're high creatives, and entrepreneurs tend to be, opportunists. And the struggle that we have as opportunists is that we can get emotionally attached to a lot of ideas that we have. And if you're a high conceiver, when you think of it in your head, it feels like it already exists. The emotionality that we feel is as if that thing already exists. So it becomes really easy for us to become very bored with our idea after a little while, and therefore we start looking at other opportunities. But we never got to the doing part. The doing part is as important as the thinking part, right? And so we've got to be willing to have the discipline to say no to everything else, right? What is my yes to the exclusion of everything else? That's the discipline part of strategic doing. The second piece is that engagement, staying engaged with the one thing that it is that we're doing. Now, when we talk about the polypreneur, it's possible to build multiple revenue streams, but it's really hard to start two of them at the same time. That's really difficult. You got to get the core, and then you can start a second or a third. So the drive is really, the discipline is saying no or yes to the exclusion of everything else. The drive is staying engaged, and then the delivery is celebrating those milestones. So often we get focused on the end result, and that we fail to celebrate the wins along the way. And it's those wins along the way that put the fuel in the tank that keep us going. So celebrating along the way. And the last thing I'll say on this that's really important is, the doing starts when the thing is built. And oftentimes where, people in an entrepreneurial way sort of, fail is that they get really excited about their idea. And this can happen with network marketing. As soon as, oh my gosh, I'm really excited about this contract I signed with this company. I just signed up as a partner or affiliate, or I'm a traditional business and I'm opening a hair salon, or I'm starting some new software, whatever it is. We get really excited about the building of that thing. And we think that once it's built, now the world is all going to come, fall in our lap. And really that's the starting point, not the ending point. And so we have to have a vision that's beyond the launch. We have to have a vision that's beyond the build, that's beyond the turning on the open sign. We've got to have a vision that's beyond that. And that's where that strategic doing really begins, is plotting the course to the actual dream, not just the establishment of whatever it is that we had the idea about.
It's compounding consistency.
Yes, it's compounding consistency.
You have to continue. I laugh because I remember getting my building renovated and getting it open and getting all the products on the shelves and hiring the people. And then the day comes where you open, and it's such a lackluster experience. You know what I mean? Like, if I ever were to be crazy enough to open up another brick and mortar business, I would hire a band just for myself, because
right.
You do all this work and it's a colossal effort to, the plumbing inspector. And, when you're in grad school and the entrepreneurism course, they don't talk to you about the plumbing inspector and the fire marshal and all this drudgery you have to go through to get a building open, and how much it costs. And, oh my God, you got to egress this window. And I mean, it's amazing what you have to go through just to open the doors if you've never done a build.
Right.
And you got bazillions of dollars, okay? But it's another thing if you get a limited revenue and you just, okay, let's do this thing. And then the day comes where you open the door and it's crickets.
Yeah.
So and then every day that now you have a job.
Right.
Now you have a job.
Now you have a job, right? And that's why it needs to be something you enjoy, because the truth is that on the other side of the idea is a job.
Yep.
And we get excited about seeing the thing we had in our head built. We get excited about seeing it manifested as a real thing, but that's just the start. That's not the end. And so you've got to be excited about doing the work that is on the other side of that. And
I love what you had to say about saying no, because people get offended now when I say, I'd love to meet you. It's such a great idea, and it's my heart, but I gotta say no. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, I only have 24 hours in a day. I gotta sleep at least 6 of them. And I gotta eat, I gotta pee, I gotta get to the gym, and I have to work. So I only have like 3 seconds left. I'm literally talking on the phone while I'm in the ladies' room. So I gotta say no. And it's so hard when you get to that point where you need to say no to people, because I love what you had to say about you have to know what your yes is. 100%. I know what my lead revenue generator is this year and next year, right? So everything else is a lagging indicator. They're building in the background, but that one thing. So one of the things I've begun to start asking all of my guests, because one of the things, my lead indicator is health and fitness. And I realized the other day, you know what? I'm not asking my guests about that. I'm not asking my guests, like, how important is health and fitness, and are you squeezing it in?
Is that a question?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So health is obviously, it's a whole body outlook, right? And it's not just the physicality of it. That's definitely an important piece too. And one of the things that is definitely a struggle for people that are starting a business is they can become so focused on sort of the one area of their life that the rest of it gets sort of left out.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things a lot of people talk about is trying to get to life balance. And life balance is impossible. You're never going to spend the same amount of time with your family as you do at work. It's never going to happen.
Nope.
And so really, you need to have a vision for what I call, the primary domains of your life. The first is sort of your personal domain, which would include your health. The second would be your family. The third would be your vocation. The fourth would be your spirituality. And the fifth would be the community you live in. And when you create a vision for each one of those, you can attain fulfillment. Balance will never happen, but fulfillment can. So, as it relates to health, you've got mind, body, and soul, and in terms of that personal domain. And within that personal domain of mind, body, and soul, you need to have a vision for what that looks like for you. And for everybody, it's different. But if you don't have a vision for that, you'll never get to it. And this is particularly true for the entrepreneur, because again, the entrepreneur can become so easily attached to the work that all the other domains really suffer in their life. And that's why divorce rates among entrepreneurs are so high, because the other domains really suffer in their life. And so that's, it goes back to what I said. It's about not just the whole body, but the whole person. Health is not just about your physicality. It's about your emotionality. It's about your spirituality. It's about your relationships. And if you don't have a vision for that, you will drown in entrepreneurialism. You might make a lot of money, but you'll be very miserable.
And one of the things that I learned a long time ago was that first I had to block out time for my physical exercise, for my spiritual fitness, for my time, for my family and my friends, and for fun.
Right.
Those are the first things that go on my calendar. Everything else comes after it. What I've learned after having 6 businesses is that if I don't take care of my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and community-based well-being, the rest of it's not worth it.
Right.
Right. So if I'm not eating right, sleeping, exercising, taking care of my spiritual life, spending time with my friends, and laughing my ass off on a daily basis, okay, throughout the day, quite frankly, then what's the point of doing everything?
Sure, that's exactly right.
So what do you do for exercise?
Well, for me, there's a lot of walking, some bicycling, and things like that.
I think I saw pictures with you. You do mountain biking, right?
A little bit, not as much that. It's more street-based cycling.
Good.
Yeah, and then walking and that sort of thing. Luckily, where I live, there's a lot of very good reason to walk outside. I used to run, but I just didn't feel that I was really getting much benefit out of it. And the problem I have is that when I run for, this is completely anecdotal. When I run for exercise, I for whatever reason, I count my steps, and it sucks. So I don't do that anymore.
It just stresses you. That's one more thing to count, right?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I do, and I can't not. It's just the way. And so it's a very boring, very tedious, very arduous sort of thing to do. So instead, I walk and I enjoy what's outside, and it works.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're doing something. So I wanted people to be able to get a hold of you. So I have your websites in the bottom. So authorsplace.com, correct?
Right. That's a great place to get a hold of me.
And the book can be at go.momentummakers.io.
.io, right? Yeah, go.momentummakers.io. If anybody's watching this and they're new to network marketing or they're considering it, you can't not get this book. This book will completely transform your business.
Now I know that it's on Amazon. Can I get it on Kindle yet?
You can. It's on Amazon. Yeah, and the reason that we recommend that you buy it from the website instead of Amazon is at Amazon, you're going to get the book, and that's awesome. But when you buy it on the website, you're really building a relationship, not only with us, but with the authors. And, network marketing is, first of all, it's about networking, which is relationship. But secondly, it's about sort of the ongoing and where it's headed. And with this project, Momentum Makers, like I said, there's 7 books, and we've got all kinds of other things that we're doing with it, whether it's conferences, virtual conferences, online mastermind groups that have no cost, and so many other things. It's really best if you buy it through the website so that you become aware of all those other things.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm going to copy it right now from here because I have the link to Amazon on the. I'll go fix that on Facebook. Yeah. Now you also have a Facebook group, which I'm a member of.
Yeah.
You're having regular conversations there with people, right?
Every Tuesday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern. Yep. And these are thought leaders from around the world, across businesses. So what's really nice about the Momentum Makers project as it relates to network marketing, it's 100% product agnostic. You're not going to get pitched any products. Nobody's going to try and recruit you. If anybody does that, we kick them out. What we're trying to focus on are the skills, the tips, and the relationships that are going to make you successful. And that's what our vision is to really promote success across businesses. And so we've got people, within those groups that are 7- and 8-figure earners from literally all over the world. And normally you'd have to pay a lot of money to get the kind of information and tips and coaching that you'll get from people in these groups at no cost. And that's the benefit of being part of the project.
Yeah, I just was in GoPro, and Jordan spoke for that, and also right. Emily Darva, and other people that I really respect, Les Brown and Sly Stallone. Did you watch him?
I didn't see him at GoPro, but yeah, I do know he spoke.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love the term product agnostic. Because it really, I mean, selling is selling is selling. Relationship building is relationship building. It doesn't really matter what widget it is that you're selling.
That's right.
I don't even look at it like selling. I mean, it's such a, even when I say the word, I'm like, I always look at sales as problem solving.
Correct.
I mean, everyone has a problem with whatever, and if your product, if you don't see your product as a solution for XYZ problems, then you get into that sales mind where you feel like Willy Loman, you just, it's depressing and you feel like you're pushing things. But if you see yourself as solving a problem, and for me, the company that I work with, I'm definitely solving a problem. It's something that I've worked in for 36 years, health and fitness. I'm solving a problem, right? So right. If you don't see it that way, then you probably should keep looking for the right product, because you shouldn't feel like you're selling a product. You feel like you're actually helping people and solving a problem.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what people don't want to be sold. They want their problem solved, and so 1,000% agree. You need to be offering something that is of value, that solves a problem that you like to solve and you feel passionate about solving. And so whatever that is, it's about identifying that. If you're in business to make money, you won't. If you're in relationships to make money, you won't. Right? I mean, you've got to be in relationships to help people, and you've got to be in business to solve a problem. And if you kind of chase after those two things, helping people and solving problems, you'll make money.
Right? Isn't it? The money will naturally follow. I love what you talk about that, because people will say, like, why is our relationship so important? Like, Tony, you and I may or may not ever exchange $1 between each other.
Right.
But I feel so blessed that I've had a half an hour. We were planning on 20, but it's now working on a half an hour to chat with you and get to know you, to support your business, and to just get excited about what it is that you're doing. If somewhere down the road we have something we do that's somehow monetized, okay, that's like the icing. But the cake is really the relationship.
Right.
The cake is getting to know human beings. And then some of those human beings, you're able to do something that has a monetization to it. But not every time you talk to somebody. And that's how network marketing gets a bad rep. And sales gets a bad rap, because people pounce on you, like they just want to.
Well, that was one of the big turnoffs. Yeah, that was one of the big turnoffs. From my prior years, in my experience with network marketing, is I felt like, network marketers, all they saw was a dollar sign on my forehead. Going back to the 80s and the early 90s, and every single one of them, they only wanted to talk to me as long as they thought I was a prospect. And it was really putting off. And that's one of the things that's happened in the industry as part of its renaissance, is it really has become about solving problems. And, you know, if this product or service doesn't solve the problem, that's okay. We can still be friends. Whereas, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you weren't going to help me get to my goals, then we weren't going to ever talk again. And so that's definitely shifted. And that's just good ethical business practice, right? I mean, you should be engaging with people because of the value that you see in them and not the value that you think they can bring you.
I love what Zig Ziglar says, where, you know, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I totally believe that to be true. Tony, you're a pleasure. I really
Well, thank you.
enjoy talking to you. I'm looking forward to, you know, getting to know you over the years. I have a feeling you and I will be in touch again. And I'm just really proud of you and Jordan, Alicia, and all the other people that have been interviewed in Momentum Makers, and just the holistic approach that you're taking to the book, which doesn't surprise me because that's how Jordan looks at life, and I can tell it's how you look at life too. So I'm really proud of you guys for putting it together, and I'm proud of how you're, you know, conducting yourself, and again, the holistic approach is just fantastic.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here. Like you said, you know, we talked so long ago. It's neat that we were finally able to connect, and I definitely look forward to getting to know you. Well,
you have a really awesome rest of your day, and this has been the 95th episode of Relentless Talk Radio. And everybody, come on back next week. It looks like it's going to be from 2:30 to 3:15 from now on, with one interview as opposed to two moving forward. And that's it. Thanks a lot, Tony. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Bye now.